video, I'm going to tell you all about the cost of living when moving to the greater Phoenix area. So stay tuned. You do not want to miss this. Hi guys, it is Sheryl Willis over at Real Agent Now. And if you are even thinking about moving to the Phoenix area, you're going to want to subscribe. Just hit that little button, that little bell right there, so you are given an alert or a reminder every time we have a new video out that you are going to want to see. We've been able to help so many people already, and if you again are thinking about moving out here, don't hesitate, really guys. Even if you're just thinking about it, just give us a call, send us a text message, email, however you need to get a hold of us. We are available 24/7. Yes, believe it or not. And we work nights and weekends and feverishly to make sure that your transition to the greater Phoenix area is a smooth one. All right, guys, I'm going to talk about cost of living. I myself am a transplant. I've been out here for a little over 20 years, but I remember there was a lot of weird stuff that you just had to get to know when you moved out here. So I'm hoping that I might be able to make that just a little bit easier for you. We're going to compare some of the costs to the national average, with the middle line being right at about 100, not at about, right at 100. So anything over 100 is going to be over the national average, and anything under 100 will be under. Okay, let's start with just the overall cost of living. Now, housing is going to be probably the biggest factor. It's actually about 30% of your income. So depending on what type of property you need to live in and what part of town and what type of amenities and age, there's just so many variables. But again, that middle of the road, Phoenix comes in at 96. 96 is right on target with moving from just about anywhere. Groceries actually also come in right at 96.1. Let me tell you though, here in Arizona, we have a lot of our own vegetable gardens. Fruit is grown here locally. We also have over 20,000 ranches. So if you are all about fresh beef and pork, this is something you can put on your table. And the costs are minimal because obviously you don't have to ship it out. So you have the freshness and you have the reduced cost. For instance, a top sirloin roast is right about $7 an hour. Ground chuck you might find at about $3.50. Did I say hour? About $7 a pound for a top sirloin roast. And ground chuck is going to be right at about $3.50 a pound. This was my biggest shocker. Chicken breast, probably the most middle of the road, generic, friendly to anyone that eats any kind of meat. You can actually get these on sale for $1 a pound. I'm not kidding you, $1.99 a pound. The average cost is right around $2.50 a pound, but what a savings from where I come from. Again, I'm from the Bay Area, just south of San Francisco in Santa Clara County, in the heart of Silicon Valley. All right, let's go to the next one, health insurance. Wow, what a difference. And what a bunch of options here. Now, it depends on if you're a W-2 employee or a 1099. I myself am a 1099. I'm self-employed as a realtor. I work with EXP. And unlike most real estate companies, I actually have the benefit. EXP provides insurance for us agents. So that's rather unique, but it's something that's offered here. But even as a 1099 agent or self-employed, there are so many options here in the greater Phoenix area. And as a W-2, both my adult kids, they work for large Fortune 500 companies, and they have a plethora of healthcare benefits. They even have a day a month that they take off. Well, they don't really take off, but they spend on health and wellness, and they do health fairs, or they do something to benefit the employees from a wellness perspective. So very forward thinking, very health conscious in Arizona. People really take good care of themselves, and it kind of going back to that groceries, a lot of farm to table, even when you're eating out. And we do have a ton of restaurants. In fact, here's a little tidbit on the restaurant too. There is so many healthy choices. There's vegan restaurants, there's gluten-free, there's paleo, there's keto, there's anything you can possibly imagine, you're going to find here in the greater Phoenix area. And this is the funny part. For those of you who are young professionals, maybe you're still dating, you haven't started that family yet, dating costs are even lower. The average first-time date in the Bay Area is about $250. That's for a nice bottle of wine, starting off with maybe a shared appetizer, some small salads to start, nice entrees, and then wrap it on up with maybe a shared dessert. Well, here in Arizona, for that same type of meal and still quality, you're looking at about $160. So you're going to save money all the way around when it comes to food. Let's move to transportation. Now, transportation, normally in a metropolitan area, you're talking about public transit, you're talking about parking, you're talking about toll bridges, you're talking about subway. We really don't have any of that. Kind of embarrassed to say, we're the 5th largest metropolitan area and actually don't even show up in the top 30 for the worst traffic. So we got it kind of easy. We don't have toll bridges. Our gasoline, I just filled up. I have a Sam's Club and Costco membership. I filled up at $2.05 a gallon. But if you're going to hit one of the regular Circle K's, which are like every mile, you're going to be right at about $2.25 a gallon right now. And you could pay an extra $8 and get a car wash too. We have car washes every corner. Rather than washing it yourself, it's actually kind of an anomaly when you see somebody washing their own car. It's so inexpensive here. So back to the car though, I have to say the transportation, the range, the index, we are actually at 107. And you're probably wondering, well, if everything else is less expensive, why are we at a 107? And it's because of the car insurance. That was the one shocker when I moved here from California. I couldn't believe it was more expensive here. And supposedly that comes from being a bordering state to Mexico. There was a lot of car theft. I don't know anyone that's gotten their car stolen, but apparently they have the numbers. And so that's where the extra cost comes in for car insurance. But if you wrap it in your homeowner's insurance, you'll definitely get multi-policy discounts. Let's move directly back now to housing. All right. We talked about different kinds of housing. Let's kind of go. I live in a single family home. I have 2 stories. I'm at 2,500 square feet. I have grass. Front yard, backyard, I have a swimming pool, but it's just me and my dog that lives in my house. So what are the costs in that home? Well, depending on how energy efficient your home is, will depend on what your electricity bill is going to look like. In the city, in the greater Phoenix area, we have 2 electrical companies. We have SRP and APS. Typically, SRP is a tad bit cheaper, not a whole lot. You don't get to pick which company you get though, so you just have to use the one you have. But what I did when I first moved here, they gave me an average amount for a home my size, and I paid that every single month for the course of 12 months. After that 12 months, if I paid too much, we reduced it, and if I paid too little, we would increase it. So that kind of helps people budgeting their homes, because if you don't do that, you might, in a home my size, $100 around in the winter time, and in the summertime, like 2 months out of the year, you're going to see bills in upwards of $400. It really depends though, like I said, on how energy efficient your home is, what the age of your home is, if it's a single level versus a 2-story. All 2 stories have 2 units. And single stories, depending on the square footage, also have 2 units, like an east wing and a west wing. If you have a newer AC, it's not going to be working as hard, and it'll, be putting out more cold air. If you have more energy efficient windows, if you have sunscreens on your window, if you have the right amount of insulation in your attic. Again, there's so many different things that you can do to help reduce those costs, because that is going to be the biggest cost that you have on your home every single month. In fact, SRP, and I'm sure APS has the same program, but they have all kinds of rebates on a regular basis. They even have classes for gardening so that you can learn how to keep your landscaping to low watering, as well as which trees shade the best. So like I said, there's just so many things. You can even tint windows, which by the way, people don't realize that here in Arizona, because we have so much sunshine, we can tint our windows super dark in the vehicles, even the front seat. All right, so there we go. So let's continue with the utilities on a single family home. Aside from the electricity, we are going to have our water, sewer, and garbage. And that's all going to be through the individual cities. So like City of Scottsdale, City of Gilbert, City of Chandler, City of Phoenix. And they all have pretty close rates. Any myth about water being expensive or shortage, I assure you we have more than enough water for in excess of 50 years, depending on what city you go to. There are some cities that actually have planned so well, they are set for 100 years. And don't get me wrong, we want to all conserve as much water as possible. We don't want to be wasteful, but it's not a problem. Believe you me, they don't let people build. They don't let the builders build unless they have this part all figured out ahead of time. All right, so the water, sewer, and garbage on my home, like I said, I have a front lawn and a back lawn. I like to keep mine lusciously green. And then I also have a swimming pool that's a rather large play pool, as well as a spa, and I'm spending about $50, $60 a month. That's it. Now, if I had changed to a desert landscaping, or if I didn't have a pool, or maybe if I had a whole family and I was doing wash every other day, there's going to be other contributors, but that's kind of the middle of the road if you're right around where I'm at. Some of the other housing costs we're going to be that I want to share about is the internet and cable. Okay, very personal, lots of choices. First of all, they deregulated the internet and cable companies. So back in the day, we used to only have one or two, but you know what? On internet, you have 10 or more choices. There are so many internet, and even if you get a phone at your actual house, there's a lot of choices out here now, and you can kind of play them against each other. In fact, here's what pretty much everybody does. You give them a call, you find out who has the best rates right now. They usually lock you in for 12, 24, 36 months, and at the end of that contract, or just before your contract expires, you start shopping them around. And then you give your guy a call, whoever you are at, and you let them know that you're going to be moving your business somewhere else unless you can have a price match or something of comparable terms and conditions. And next thing you know, there you go. So little bit of a bartering system. I myself don't have cable anymore. You can use Hulu. I have Apple TV. There's so many options. So I don't even want to talk about what cable costs out here, because it all depends on what you need or want as a family, or it's just me, so I don't watch a lot of TV. All right, pool maintenance. A lot of people think it's really expensive and they got to do it yourself. Let me tell you, with the amount of time that you're going to potentially be out there and trying to figure out the pH balance and being that chemist, or figuring out how many chlorine tablets, and oh my goodness, don't throw a bunch of shock in the pool. That's everyone. When they do their own pool, they throw so much shock in because they think that's the only thing they can do, and they ruin the water. Just make a little investment. You have a pool, take good care of it, all right? It doesn't last forever. You got to make sure you do the maintenance very well. My pool guy comes once a week. He takes care of all the chemicals. If something's not working right, he gives me a heads up. He either allows me to have the work done from somebody else, or he'll give me a quote. Super fair. There's a lot of pool companies. Again, you can shop them against each other. And I have to say, the companies that are really around these days are all quality companies, because everything is so online now, right? So ratings and customer service has everything to do with it. I pay for that once a week service every single month. I pay $85. Sometimes if you have a larger pool, or maybe a water feature, or even a grotto, yes, there are people that have these monstrous pools, you might pay in upwards of $100 a month. Super worth it, right though? All right, that ties in with landscaping. Landscaping, depending on what you want to have done, I have a moderate 7,500 square foot lot, and yes, my pool takes up a lot. I also have a large paver area and cool deck. You're probably wondering what's cool deck, right? Cool deck is just a little tiny layer of a different type of element that goes over the concrete. It looks a little prettier than the gray concrete, and it deflects some of that heat. I'm going to say it's only about 10 or 20 degrees less though than concrete, so it gives you just enough time to run across in the hot summertime. Believe me, you can't walk across it still. It's still too hot. And no, we can't fry an egg on the sidewalk. That's a myth. Anyways, the cool deck. So because I have all this other concrete, like I said, and pavers and cool deck and pool, I don't have a large pool area, a large grassy area, but my guy comes in and mows and edges my lawn. He fertilizes it a couple times a year, and he trims back my bushes, and then I have to have regular tree trimming. So, but my landscaping on a regular basis I have done every other week is $100 a month. And then you'll see the palm trees, and don't try this at home because some of the palm trees here are literally hundreds of feet high. You're going to, again, same thing. There's people that'll come around, they'll knock on your door and they'll ask you, hey, would you like me to trim your tree? And you're like, how much? And I'd say about $30 to $50 is the range for palm trees. Your landscaper might provide it on a regular basis. You're going to want to trim most of your trees, like severe trim, twice a year, okay? You also, I would highly recommend the weed emergent, if I said that right. And my guy comes out twice a year, and that's in the April and October time frame, and he sprays the weeds, and he sprays 4 weeds because there's no weeds. And I have a dog, so he is conscious of that, and so he uses chemicals that are not harmful to your pets. And again, $160 twice a year, and I never see a weed in my front or my backyard. So there's a lot of things you can do to make your life just a little bit easier. Like, for instance, I mentioned about the car wash. You can do $8 car washes over at Costco. Probably every couple miles, you'll see a $3 car wash. There's another $10 car wash. Or if you'd like the area where you just kind of sit and lounge, there's even those that are $20 to $25. There's car washes all over town. And how about housekeeping? Depending on where I work a lot. I love working. In fact, I'm here for you, like I said, 24/7. So it makes sense for me to have a housekeeper. I have her come in every other week, and I pay $125. You will, if you do it less often, it's going to be a little bit more, and then depending on what you have done, but it's significantly less than, for instance, like the Bay Area, where I used to pay several $100s. But again, there was more work. I do a little work in between, but I got to keep up on my dusting techniques. All right, pest control. You're going to want to make an investment on that as well. Pest control, it's the necessary evil, but I'm telling you, you feel like you're wasting your money because you don't have any pests, but that's because it's working. So don't stop. Every other month, you're going to want to have that treated. It'll range from $55 to $70. Just make sure you work with someone that you feel like they provide great customer service. My guy, every once in a while, just will check in. Hey, how's everything going? If I do find the little tiny itty bitty ants that come up, sometimes they're looking for some water or some food, he'll come on out at no charge and make sure I'm taken care of. But I am telling you, if you have one cricket in your house, you're going to lose sleep. So you're going to want to make sure there's no little crickets. And if you're worried about the scorpions, that's a lot of people's concern. I get it. Now, mind you, if you live closer to the mountain, there's a higher probability that you're going to see those kind of little critters. But you can get your home sealed these days. I had a client that had a 5,000 square foot home. They had it sealed. It was about $4,000. They have never seen a scorpion in the home. So it's definitely worth it if it's something of concern of yours. Again, the greater Phoenix area is just such an overall great place to live. Did you know that 4 of the top 10 cities for working parents were right here in the East Valley of Greater Phoenix? We have Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, and Scottsdale. 4 of the top 10 based on city affordability, childcare services and costs, family-friendly environment and activities to do, and high-quality school options. There is so much to do in Phoenix, and that's also because you have extra income. And here's another great reason why: taxes. Property taxes, significantly lower. Let's compare it to where I come from. The taxes here in Maricopa County are 0.64%. Now, compared to Santa Clara County, again, that's the home of Cupertino, Saratoga, San Jose. That's where Apple Computer is. It's 0.75 out there. So it doesn't seem like a big difference, but they base it on the land value. So when the median home here at $358 at that 0.64, it puts you at right about $2,200 a year. If I were to still live in the Bay Area for an even smaller home, for a median home, it was right around the $958,000 for a median priced home in the Bay Area. That would put your property taxes at $70,000 a year. I don't know how, well, I shouldn't say, I don't know how anybody makes it out there. And it helps me understand why my friends that still live out there, how they are working so hard so they have a place to live. And I don't live my life that way. I spend less time on the roads. The average commuter time here in the greater Phoenix area is only 26 minutes. Less time in my car means I'm more stress-free. I have more time for my family or friends, whatever that might be. I have less wear and tear on my car. I have less gas, even though I'm already paying less gas. New tires have to be replaced even less frequent. Any repairs are going to be less expensive. There are so many positives about living in a more affordable area and a better quality of life. And that's where I'm going to leave it. We would love to show you what Arizona is all about. I myself love Arizona. I love this state. There's so much to do. There is something for everyone here. And if you're afraid of the heat, then you know what? Have a second place right up north, because you would not believe you can get into the cold country in as little as a 1-hour drive. All right, guys, make it a great one. This is Sheryl Willis at Real Agent Now. And don't forget, just reach down to that little button there, subscribe, so we can keep in touch and let you know when we have a new video coming up. And I really mean this, guys. If you're even thinking about moving out here, just pick up that phone, give us a call, and we will be glad to help you with that transition and relocating to the greater Phoenix area.